Hey guys, weekly market update. If you hear background noise, avoid it. I'm actually currently getting a massage while making this. Had a 15-hour flight back from Germany. Body's tight as hell. Getting old at 29. Feel it everywhere. Anyways, let's start with Bitcoin. So, I mean, it's currently consolidating in a range. This looks like either a bull flat. I mean, we can go to a lower time frame and talk about that, but this price action looks like this currently, right? So we just had a slow grind up, consolidation, right? So slow grind up, consolidation before a breakout. Then we broke out, and now we're consolidating here, just like currently. Now, if I were to break this down, so we have this diagonal inverse head and shoulders that I talked about. And honestly, I would like a move back into this 115K area. Now, I don't think it's going to happen, in a short amount of time. I think it's going to be a slow grind down, just like we had this breakout and then slow grind down. But anything from 115 down to 112, I'm not going to be giving entries here on these videos anymore, really, but anything from 115 basically down to 112 is a buy. All right, so basically a retest of this breakout resistance, and now it's an SR point, is a buy. All right, which would be also a retest of this diagonal trend line that we broke out from. Now let's go to a lower time frame. Okay, so it pays dividend to just draw your support and resistance lines and always have them. Okay, so if you had this previously support, look where we bounced from again. We bounced from support. Now let's draw our resistance lines, and we can draw these a few different ways, but this is not a resistance. This is our first touch. This is our swing high point, but this is not our resistance line. It can't be resistance if we've had only one touch. So my resistance is actually going to be around here. Okay, this is the range that we are currently in. Here's your swing high. Here is your resistance. Above basically 120, and we flip it, and then you can target these highs here. Now it's when we get to a price discovery point, that is where I would be careful in shorting. A lot of people started shorting all-time high breakout only to get absolutely wrecked, and it kept going higher and higher. This is a buyer's market, so any single pullback should be a buy. Eventually, we're going to have a nice pullback that, it's going to be at least a 10 to 15% pullback, and that's where I'd be looking to unload. But for now, we are in an area where I said last video that alt season was going to come, and alt season has been happening for the past week and a half. All right, I still expect this to continue to about like mid-August, the first few weeks of August before we have a correction. Now I'll go into the other indicators that I look at, but as long as Bitcoin is consolidating here, our focus should be on alts. All right, so until 120 is flipped, we focus on alts. Once 120 is flipped, I think profits flow back into Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin trades from here to here. All right, but for now, we focus on altcoins. If Bitcoin goes and sweeps these lows here, which would be something like this. Hopefully we go down, sweep this, retest that, come back above. That would be your long trigger once we have that SFP. Sweep the lows, reclaim it, and get back into the range, and then you play this like that. Right? Shorting, like I said, it's going to be very risky, but if we do sweep the highs and come back below, it's going to be a very risky short, but you have easy invalidation, come back below, stops above the recent highs that's created, and you play back into the range. Okay, I would not be shorting an all-time high break. I would rather wait for pullbacks than trying to short for 1% moves. Don't be a statistic of, those 160 million have been liquidated in the past 10 minutes. Right? Don't be that person. Play the trend. The trend is up, and the trend is your friend. Until the trend is broken, no reason to short, for 1 to 2% moves. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for at Bitcoin. Now, if we take a look at ETH, okay, this is where I'd be pretty careful on ETH here. Okay. Let's go a little bit further back. So we can actually go further back. Okay. Weekly opened right at resistance. All right. This is a very strong area for ETH. Now, RSI on the daily is at its highest. Now we can take a look at a few points where RSI got above 80, and then this completely collapsed, right? So here is at 83 was the highs, right? Here was around 72, dumped. Here was around 79, we dumped a little bit and then went lower. Here was around 85, right? We dumped down to around 2100. We've had, this is the highest RSI that we've had since like January 21 and August of 20. All right. So I think the market is getting too euphoric here. And although I do think ETH goes a little bit higher, there may be an intra-week or a quick pullback in the markets, right? So I'd be careful getting into fresh longs around this point. The R&R is very skewed up here, right? If I were looking for longs, I'd be looking to, and by the way, RSI is a terrible indicator to just use solely because things can be overbought and oversold for a while. But if I'm looking for, fresh buys on this, I'm looking for an area of demand. So I would love to get bids filled around 3620 down to 3500-ish. I actually got positioned here when we had this dip. We went to 36. I got from 3,500 down to 3,430 bids. I personally still have those, but if we get a dip into this area here, right, I do think that is a potential buy. Trend is still up, so I think if we get an intra-week dip, that's where I'd be looking to buy. All right. Now, there are better coins to trade than ETH in terms of R&R, but ETH looks like, we are at resistance. These candles, these candles here, these are aggressive buys on ETH, and ETH looks very strong. And even on a lower time frame, this is consolidation, right? It's not clean consolidation, but it is consolidation. And look what happened, right? Like here is the dip up, down, there's the up, right? Slow grind down. And then we had expansion. So same thing, right? So up, dip, slow grind down, and hopefully we have expansion, right? So that's what I'm looking for on ETH. Again, if you're looking for an ETH trade, then this would be an area where you'd be looking to possibly open shorts. From here up to basically here on the daily or the 3-day, this is very, very strong resistance. So, if you're daring, then this would be an area where you'd be looking for shorts. I am not going to short ETH. I'd rather long pullbacks and ride this for much higher. All right, but as a trader, you must have no bias whatsoever and play the market. If you are counter trading the trend, then you have to lower your position size. It doesn't mean you can't take trades if you see them. You just, don't want to be over positioned for a wrong trade. And right now the trend is up, so if you are taking a trade against the trend, lower your size. Okay. ETH BTC, we broke out of this major supply zone that I had drawn last video. I am looking for, and we are actually at a very crucial point here too. ETH has created, or ETH BTC has created a market structure change, all right? But we are at resistance as well. SR point, just like ETH at resistance. But if we get an intra-week dip, this would be an area for ETH BTC where I would like to load up on altcoins. Okay. Doesn't mean we're gonna get a dip anytime soon. We could continue to grind higher, but if we were to get a dip, I'd be looking to bid around this area. So whatever coins, go ahead and chart them. Have bids just in case we get a pullback. And when we get a pullback, it's not going to be a deep pullback just yet, but any shallow pullback that we get, I think, is a buy. Okay. Now, if you guys remember, I talked about USDT dominance, and I'm still looking at this blue line. That weekly close that we had was disgusting. We actually turned this support into resistance, and I still think that we grind much lower here. Now, we are at a weekly order block, so we could get some relief, and this would go with the plans of getting that intra-week dip, maybe back into 4.4%, and then continue down to the range low levels. All right, like I said, that is going to be your sell. Most of your bags that you are in profit, that's where you want to sell. Okay, because that's been support since 22. Bitcoin dominance. Disgusting weekly candle. Okay, this basically engulfed about, I don't know, almost 4 months of an uptrend. So we are getting to a level of support here. So if we are to dip, again, Bitcoin dominance would be, this is the area where we would look to bounce from. But this looks completely bearish, and I think that we go much lower. So let's draw this trend. Okay, come around this red line. This would be an SR point to here. This would be a reversal point for it. Lose this trend line, then I think we go down to this 55% area. Okay. Sol. Sol is at a very interesting area, at resistance. Okay. If we get a dip in Sol, you're going to want to buy, but this is going to be the second or third, depending on how you have your resistance drawn, the second or third touch of resistance, and it looks like it wants to break out. I think the focus in the short term will be on Sol and Sol betas. All right, we already had ETH run, we had the ETH betas run. I think it's time for Sol betas to run, and we'll discuss a few of them. But above and reclaim this resistance, and I think this just full blown sense. All right, and target is 215. Okay, clear resistance. So reclaim here, and we've never had a close above here since February, when the whole Trump coin came out, right? So reclaim, close above, then you play this range here. If we get a dip, you want to focus on lower time frames. Like I said, you want your dips to be shallow. So look at that beauty. I'd probably look for, I don't want a dip down to 175, but in the event that we do, that's where you're going to want to get into it. We have a lower time frame currently reclaimed with a flip in progress. This 2 hour closes in 10 minutes. But scalp wise, you have an order block here. So this would be a good area to possibly get into it. And if we were to draw some fibs, we can draw it from, now this is not a confirmed swing high, but if we were to draw fibs from here to there, you can see that it falls perfectly in line with the fibs. So if we get a dip there, and this is not an official call, if I put something out again in my YouTube videos and you guys take it solely based on your own discretion, and target 215. Make your own decisions, make your own trades up. I'm just giving you potential trade ideas. I'm only giving trades in my own server, and the server is currently not taking anyone in for the rest of the year. And I will be done with the rest of the year. So anything to here is a buy. Okay. I'm not looking for shorts, honestly. Like, again, there's a reason why you won't see shorts from me. Red button is still disabled. I'd rather focus on the stronger coins, and Sol BTC is currently outperforming ETH BTC. Above this line, I think I drew this last time, but above this line, I think that is around like 195-ish. This is a double bottom pattern, and then full send to about like that 215 to 250 mark. Okay, Sol looks very good. That was a very, very good weekly close, and right now doesn't look like much can stop it. As you can see, this is full sending. One of my favorite coins and favorite compressions is happening here on Seapool. I don't know if I gave this last video, but you have compression happening here, a long accumulation base, and when you have something accumulating for a long time, accumulation leads to expansion, right? Now, let's go back to the daily. Okay, this looks good. You have a bull flag happening right at resistance. We're consolidating here right at resistance, and I'm looking for this to full send to the next levels of interest, around 21 and 28 cents. All right, I got my guys in this earlier, but this looks good. And in the event that we dip, you're gonna play support. So anything basically from 15 cents down to 10 cents is a buy. And this, I think, once RWA, narrative comes back, this is an easy 5x from these prices. I mean, look, this went to 58 cents. Okay, this would be about a 3x, 17, yeah, about almost a 4x trade. Looks good. If this is a deviation, just like it was here, if we go up and we thought we were consolidating, come back down, and again, anything in this yellow box, actually a little bit higher, basically from 15 down to 10 cents is a buy. Okay. One of the coins that I gave in the last video, we had the Doge breakout. Okay, we actually flipped this resistance into support horizontally, and this gave you a 45, almost a 44% trade. Now, we have reclaimed this resistance. In this daily, we still have about 18 hours left. But this daily looks good. Now, let's go to a lower time frame. And Doge is something that I've been, and I gave a few calls on it. We've been in it for a few, but I would like another entry on it. Okay. If we were to somehow get a move down to 25 cents, that's where I'd be looking to buy. But let's go to a lower time frame. Yeah, Sol's just full sending. See that you have demand zone, you have an order block, so anything from 25, basically 8 down to 24.9 is a buy. This would be another higher low area. But lower time frames, this looks very good for continuation. Again, intra-week dips are our gift. Higher time frame. Okay. This looks like it honestly wants to go to revisit the highs of last year. Okay, but we can't talk about highs of last year until we talk about major levels that are going to be coming up. I think this easily, either this week or next week, goes to 31 cents. So any dips as a buy, you can slowly. Here's the thing about people and trading. They always want to time the bottom, right? And you want to have an exposure just in case markets don't come down. So you have to start building your bags slowly and start DCAing just in case we don't get bound. So this is literally no sleep season. This is alt season. This is, leave your boyfriend at your, in-law season. No sleep season. Sometimes you're going to have to buy resistance, right? And this is an exact area where you can start to bid slowly and DCA if we go lower. You're not going to time the bottom. You're not that good of a trader, bro. Okay? No one is. So if you slowly start to buy, and who knows, from this point on to there, like a 12% move. Okay? Is an extra 4% going to hurt your ego? Right? So it's okay to top loss some coins sometimes, because everyone was waiting for lower on Sol before this broke out. So I think Dogecoin is going to be one of the strongest coins in the market, and I think it's going to pull an XRP type move. Now, if we think about last cycle, those coins from last cycle are actually running, and this is I'm only looking at XRP to give you guys an example here. All right. I talked about this, if you guys are following on my Twitter. I said XRP looked very good, gave you a 65% move. But if you take a look at XRP, it broke its all-time high, and now it actually retested it. And remember what I told you guys, once a coin goes into price discovery, you always want to bid the previous all-time high, because that's where we're going to bounce from. Well, if you had done so, you'd be up decently. You still have more to go, but about like 4 or 5%. Now, coins of last cycle, or 2 cycles ago, are actually pumping very hard. XRP did. Shit-ass Litecoin did. Right? Litecoin, people were asking, why is this breaking out? Well, consolidation for the long time. Looks similar to C-Pool. Okay? Very similar to C-Pool, and then boom. Okay, it also broke out from this diagonal. Now, look, if this shitcoin can pump, in a single week like 25%, what is stopping Dogecoin? I mean, so did Dogecoin, but what is stopping this from going higher? And show you guys this. trying to get an example up, didn't have one ready. I gotta get that Adam and Eve pattern for you guys. Alright. Okay. So, and the Adam and Eve can be, this can be round bottom here with a V, or a V and a round bottom, but downtrend into the neckline, right? So again, any retest here is a buy, right? And the target for that, the technical targets for a double bottom, this would send you basically to about 35%, 36%. Okay, so that is where I'd be looking to buy, but it doesn't mean we're going to get that dip. So if you want to slowly bid from here down to 25 cents, that is also an option, because I do think this gives you another God candle. This last weekly candle was absolutely nothing. I think this goes much higher. All right, so pick your coins wisely. Don't be over invested. Focus on strength. The strength, in my opinion, right now is going to be Dogecoin, Sol, and one of the other markets that look good is Pangu. I mentioned this last time as well. This is literally at resistance. We're about to clear the highs. Bull flag, consolidation under resistance leads to expansion. I think that this coin goes to 43 cents and higher. Okay, in the event that we get a dip, I think that you want to buy this demand zone from 32.5 down to 29 cents. But this, honestly, actually, it just cleared the highs. This wants to go higher. Now, this also has, well, it had an ascending triangle, and the target for the ascending triangle is around 39 cents. Okay, so this, again, this is at high time frame resistance. Any dip, it could be, it could get front ran around 33.8. I think is a buy. I would love to get this daily demand zone and then target 43 cents. I think, like I said, Sol betas are going to do well. I think the market is still holding up strong, but I think if we were to get a weekly flush, just a quick flush, I think it's a great buying opportunity. So set your bids just in case we do. Another good coin that looks like it wants to break out. This looks like, sorry, this is, let me get another chart, because this is the coin that is my position that I'm currently in. This has a bull flag here, and it looks like it wants to go higher. Looks like Litecoin on the weekly before it ran. So I think Sui is getting geared up for another move. Now, I don't think I posted it here, but there was a bearish divergence there. It came down, right? It swept all the lows and reclaimed this mini range that was on. A breakout above and retest, this goes. Now let's dissect this a little bit more on a higher time frame. This is at a daily resistance, or it's coming up around 411. We haven't gotten a close above there since literally, back in December. Close above here, this looks good for higher. All right, but in the event that we get a deeper correction, I would love this to get front ran, this little demand zone order block to get front ran, and start bidding around probably first this swing low level, so around 3.65, and then all the way down to 330 is where you want to buy this little blue box and then target much higher. Now these are all in the event or hopeful event that we get an intra-week dip, but you can see, some of these coins are not offering that. Like Doge is running, C-Pool, I still think this runs. It's going to be a slow mover compared to the other markets, but very strong coin. Doge, Sol, C-Pool, and Sui, not Sui. ETH are the main focuses that I'm in. Okay, Pangu as well. Pangu looks like a very strong coin that wants to make new highs. I think all of the people that were in SPX. Okay, I think what we're seeing or what we saw on SPX here, this is where Pangu currently is. I think it wants to make a move to all-time highs. So those are the coins that I'm currently looking at, and in case we get a intra-week pullback, that's what I'd be looking to buy. Again, I'd recommend you guys set your bids just in case we get the dip, and then don't play with your food, don't play with your profits. In the event that we get a dip and you make good money on it, if the market goes, take some profit. It's only profit if you book it and you see the money in the bank account, right? Don't be an absolute bag holder like some of these communities. Trade the markets. This is a trader's market. This is not an investor's market. All right. That's it for me. I'll see you guys next week.